Hi, I'm the Space Quest historian, but I play other games as well, and sometimes I make games. I'm not very good at it though, especially not in the art department, which you will see in due time, but a couple of friends of mine have actually asked me if I could, help them get started using Adventure Game Studio, which is the, software that I use to make my games in, because it's dead easy. That's what I keep telling them. It's dead easy, it's dead simple. Anyone with little to no programming knowledge, like me, I'm not a coder by any stretch of the imagination, can get in and actually make a finished game. And also, fill their mouth up with saliva. Excuse me. Goes down smooth. Anyway, so I thought I'd do this quick little tutorial video, quick, and show you how to get started making your own adventure games in Adventure Game Studio. I have no idea if I'm going to split this up into several episodes or whatever. It's just a fun little excursion. If you want to go out and make your own games, this is how I do it, and you should probably not do it the way I do it, but anyway, this is just to help you get started with Adventure Game Studio. Right, this is the first screen you will see after downloading the actual software from adventuregamestudio.co.uk. It's free, by the way, which is a very, very good thing, and we want to get in and start a new game. There you go, and now we get the wizard. Now, you probably should point out at this point that I am using the beta, the new, well, I can't even remember the version number. I think it's 3, 4, I don't know. Anyway, this will probably become the next stable version. So if you download the stable version, there are some options that, at the time of this recording is not in this one. But, from the downloads page, you can find the beta version if you want to mess with it. Anyway, once you start a new game, you can select which type of game you want to use. You can either use the Monkey Island style, which has, the bottom third of the screen has all the verbs that you can interact with. You have the default game, which is the Sierra icon bar that drops down from the top and has walk, look, hand, talk, and such. You can have the Beneath the Steel Sky Broken Sword kind of thing, where you only use 2 mouse buttons. You interact with the left mouse button and you examine with the right mouse button. This is what, this is what all the White Jedi games use. And then you have the verb coin, the full throttle Curse of Monkey Island style, where you hold in the mouse button and then a wheel pops up and then you select your verb from that. I am going to go with the default game, because, Dave Gilbert absolutely loves the default Sierra verb. Now, we recently did an interview over on backseatdesigners.com, which with Mr. Dave Gilbert, and he professed that he absolutely hates the Sierra icon bar. So I'm going to use the Sierra icon bar in his honor, and also because it is the default for Adventure Game Studio. Which makes all the tutorial stuff a lot easier to deal with, because the entire interface is basically set up for this. If you go with any of the other presets, then you'll have to sort of, feel your way around, getting stuff to work. And anyway, we need a title. We need a title for this game. And I don't know what the game is going to be about. So I have enlisted, just to keep plugging that other podcast I'm on, I've actually downloaded the Open Crowdsource Home Edition software, which will give me a setting, a task, a modifier, and a main character for the game that we will create in your honor, dear watcher, whatever. So it's going to be a punk chick from Boston who must crash a wedding with a plunger. Okay. This will give me, the main sprites, it'll give me a setting, it'll give me a goal in the game, and it'll give me an inventory item, well, the plunger. And you'll get to see my adorable art skills later on. Anyway, so we will call this, Wedding Crasher. Sounds nice, right? And it's just gonna put that in my documents folder. You have fun with that. The file name, it's just Crasher, I think. There you go. Finish that up. That's just the actual directory where it's going to put all the files in. So when you download it from, once you put it up on the internet and you download it, it's going to be weddingcrasher.exe or something. And then you get the start page. The start page is of no use whatsoever, so we're just going to close that. The first thing we're going to do is go into general settings. Just double click on this thing, and some things before we start doing art is that we are going to set the color depth of the game. You can either do, like classic 256 colors, that's 8-bit color. that gives you a bunch of headaches later on because, you know, different palettes have to be swapped out and fuck that. You can go 16-bit, which is kind of like the middle ground between 32-bit and 8-bit, and I have no idea why you'd ever do that, so just go 32-bit. Yeps. Now it's asking me if it will invalidate your existing sprites and room backgrounds. I don't have any, so fuck it, continue. You were on that already. Sorry, I keep burping. It's very hot. Enable letterbox mode. I have no idea. Developer name. Piss Whistle Studios. Yeah, that sounds good. Letterbox mode is probably one of those new features that's not in the stable version currently, but you know they probably will be in the future. So that's why I'm showing them off now. Usually Adventure Game Studios run in a 4:3 aspect ratio, which means that if you play them on widescreen, monitors or TVs, they don't, stretch out. But apparently in the new version, you can enable game will run at 320 by 240 or 640 by 480 with top and bottom black borders to give a square aspect ratio. Hell, I'll do that. Thank you. Another new thing is that you can also set the resolution to anything you want. Previously, in previous versions of Adventure Game Studio, you were stuck with either 320 by 200, 640 by 480, or 1024 by 768. And probably some others if you hacked it. But anyway, let's do this at 640 by 480. A nice, you have now changed your resolution. Yes. It asks if I want to resize the icon bar and all the other graphical user interfaces in the game, and of course we do. So you don't have to manually scale them all up. Let's see here. Is there anything else we want to mess with? No, not well. We do have to decide if we want to use the LucasArts style of speech, which is that all the text appears above the heads of the characters, or if we want to use the Sierra style, which is just a box with a portrait next to it, or that's these two. Either it's a transparent text box or it has a background. Or whole screen, which is the Gabriel Knight method of doing it. And I don't know. I'm just going to stick with LucasArts. You guys have fun with the other. I think I did this thing for Adventure Jam 2016. What a headache. Had to design my own text box and get the graphics to loop and all that shit. Stick with LucasArts. This is a trial. I mean, this is a first-time tutorial. This is not even for dummies. This is for absolute dipshits. Like, absolute... I was going to say an un-PC word right there, but this is for dum-dums. This is for, absolute beginners. All of this other stuff, you can basically just leave it or have fun playing with it. If you click on something, it'll try and tell you what it's supposed to be down here, but most of this should be good. All right. Now we are going to make our first room. Now, see, all, places in the game exist in rooms, and even if, a room is like an abstract concept. You're not just talking a room, like an office or a bedroom or something. I mean, a room is just anything. Even the black background where it says, Piss Whistle Entertainment Presents is actually a room with some text on it. So anything that happens in the game happens in a room. So now, we're going to have to draw shit. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Alright, so we've got our trusty old Adobe Photoshop. Oh, the Photoshop. And I am going to create a background that we can import into the game. Now, we set the resolution at 640 by 480, so that is what we are going to do. There we go. Yeah, this is going to go swimmingly. Also, I have... I don't know if you can see it in the tiny little face cam I have, a cute little Wacom tablet that I stole from someone, and this is really going to be embarrassing because, as if you have played any game that I've ever made, you'll notice that I have no graphic art skills whatsoever. So this is going to be fun. Let's have a bit of... that's the size of the thing. I'm just gonna fast forward through this shit. So we're drawing a wedding, right? Yeah. let's draw a wedding scene. Right, so we've got our first scene here. Did you enjoy that? Let's see. We start out here. Here's the gift table, and there's a door here that goes through to the actual reception area. This is supposed to be a fence or a plank or something. This is supposed to be grass, and that's the dear old sun right there. So we've got our first scene. Let's save that bastard. Now I'm making a special little folder called backgrounds. It's important to have, you know, if you're doing a fancy styled, you know, project or anything, just to be slightly organized, because even though this is a tiny game, eventually you are going to have a million different sprites and a million different backgrounds, and it all gets very confusing if you don't, you know, keep slightly organized. I know that's rich coming from me, but still. Let's call this the entrance. There you go. Okay, so my plan so far is to have our main character appear, start on this screen, and then go through the door. I should probably show this with the mouse. Start on this screen, somewhere around here. Go through the door here, and then attend the wedding party itself, and then, what was it? Crash the wedding with a plunger. So this is, by the way, Boston. This is what Boston looks like in my head. That's still the sky. Okay, and before doing that, she must open one of these gifts and retrieve a plunger. So, are we cool? That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's start out by just importing this into AGS. Let's see here. We have got room 1. I double-clicked on rooms. Room 1. There you go. Edit room. We give it a description. This is, well, it's the fucking entrance, isn't it? There's the entrance. And then we click, you see here, under display background, we just have main background. And this little thingy is going to come in very handy just in a minute. But let's start with, we change the background. So we import entrance.png. The new background is a different size to the old one. If you imported all your blah, 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 blah. Sure. I'm pretty sure I said 640 by 480, didn't I? Probably because the game that we started was in 320 by 200, and now it's in 6. I don't know. Anyway, this is our first screen. Brilliant, isn't it? Now, in order to get our character to walk around this, we have to define a walkable area. So we just tap on this thing and define walkable area. Now you got this little tool thing up here. You can either just, you know, draw big, huge ass boxes like that. Just don't want them to collide with the table leg right there. This basically just signifies anything that you draw in here is where the character can walk. So if the player clicks, like here for instance, then the character sprite will walk all the way over here and stop right there. Won't actually just go all the way up there. This is pretty good for our first little jaunt. Now let's see. The let me see. When you start with this, it actually has an already defined sprite in it. Yeah, it has Roger Wilco right here. This is going to get complicated in a hurry. No, it's very, very easy. I'm just making it complicated. Anyway, we want to test out just to see how this all looks like in-game. So let's just go into edit room and place the character in the room. We have to sort of define where they appear. Let's see. That would be okay. See these mouse position? These are the the coordinates around the screen. The walkable area I had defined. So we have to place. We of course have to place the character inside the walkable area. So 50 times 420. Sounds about right, right? 50 by 420. 50 by 420. 50 by 420. So we go into the character here, And he has a starting room 1, but the coordinates are not right. So we put in 50 times 420. Something like that. Right. Brief overview. This is the main character. His name is Ego, which is, you know, the person playing. He has all of these settings that I will get into at some point, trust me. But right now, the important thing is he has a starting room. That's the place he appears first in the game. He is the playable character, so of course he has to start somewhere. And these are the coordinates where he starts. Start X and start Y. All of this shit about his real name, script name, and scaling, and all of this shit, we'll get to that. For now, let's just see if this works. Now, to test the game, without having to compile and all, you just press F5. And AGS will try to run the game. And it did. Well, look, isn't he cute? Now, we can actually walk him around, but as you can see, the game world is far too large for little poor old Roger here. Also because Roger was built for 320 by 200 games, not 640 by 480 games. So, well, we can walk him around. That's cute. And he's actually got the icon bar already in place here. You've got walk, look, take, or use, talk, inventory, save game, load game, exit, and help. Which just brings up a whole new mess of shit. Alright, this is all default stuff. You don't actually have to, you know, poke around with this stuff, although you can change the graphics and such. We might get into that at a later point. Right now, let's just keep it simple. We need a new character sprite, obviously. So let's just get out of this thing. And go back in and draw our character sprite. Now, since we have the background, you know, already to scale, I think I'll just make a new layer, aptly named character. Now, it has to be a punk chick. Now, why did it have to be a punk chick? I am terrible at drawing humans, but I'm especially terrible at drawing women. For some reason, I can never get the tits right. Wish I was kidding. Let's see. Well, she's a punk chick, so she needs exciting hair, I think. That looks pretty exciting in a Lisa Simpson kind of way. Maybe she needs some eyeshadow. I don't know. She's happy. She's happy-go-lucky. Right. And this is the heart part. Yeah, let's just call them tits. I don't care. I am not an artist like Francisco Gonzalez. Right. She's kind of wobbly, isn't she? Can we just tilt you into place, please? Thank you. Whatever. What? Oh, maybe we should just stabilize her, like by putting in another foot. Maybe that'll work. There you go. Foot. No, this is horrible. What the fuck am I doing? Right, whatever. This, yeah. This is Gertrude. Let's just call her Gertrude. We just need to color her in. Hang on a bit. Let's see. She's not quite punk rock yet, is she? Let's just give her an earring. That just looks like a big blob of something. Let's give her a belt. I don't know. That looks more like a fanny pack. Right, she's a punk chick wearing a fanny pack. There we go. Fuck it. And now I am going to copy her into her own little transparent document because we need her separated from everything else. She's not supposed to be part of the background, obviously. She's supposed to float around. Dear God. Oh, I missed coloring in the hair. All right. Oh, this is our chance to punk her up a bit. Let's give her fucking green hair. There you go. There you go, my dear. Fuck! There you go. She's hideous. My creation is complete. Now, we save her. And let's just call it characters. She's facing right, so let's call her Elsa. Hello, Elsa. You're now facing right. Thank you. And of course, we flip her around. So she's also facing left. See, Adventure Game Studio doesn't do this. I mean, everything in Adventure Game Studio is sprite-based, and they're all drawn. You can't tell Adventure Game Studio, oh, just flip this sprite. And if you can, I don't know how to. So now we're going to turn Elsa into this person. So we're going to get into views. Now, a view and a sprite are actually the two things that we need to do to make a character. Well, let's import the sprites first. Let's just not complicate matters any further. Hello, Elsa. You see, there's a lot of different shit in the sprite folder already. For instance, here's all the sprites for the Roger Wilco character. You can move left and right and up and down, and there's some other shit going on here. We're not gonna mess with it. We're not gonna remove it from the game because, you know, I don't really want to do that right now, but we are going to import our own shit. Alright, so, just to be clear, we just double-click on Sprites, and we're in here. We just made a folder called Elsa, and we right-click in this little window, and we can now quick import Sprites. So we're going to quick import little Elsa here. There you go. She doesn't have a walking animation yet. She's just facing one direction, which is cool with me. So now we have Elsa left and Elsa right. Cool. So, to make a character, you have to define a view for the character. Now, see, I just double-click on view number 1 here. That's actually the Roger sprite that you saw walking around. See, this character right here, Ego, is, let's see, where it is. Oh, it's over here. Somewhere here it says normal view 1. Now the view that it's talking about is the views that we just saw over here. So that's his normal walking around thing. View number 2 is used for absolutely shit right now, apparently. But view number 1 is Roger walking around. Now, the first view here, oh, I've got it open right here. See, if the character is not moving, it's just going to use the first frame of each, direction that they can face. And once the character starts moving, it'll start playing all the other frames. See? But we've got our own Elsa right now. So I'm just going to delete all of these fancy Roger frames. I'm just clicking on the first one and just pressing delete on the keyboard. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Now you may be wondering, of course, since we only drew Elsa from her left and right position, what happens to up and down? Well, thankfully, Adventure Game Studio is not going to punish me for not making those sprites. It's just going to use left and right. It's going to use what it has, and if it doesn't have a down or an up, it's just going to default to left or right. This does make for some, pretty interesting animation, but since we are not in this to do anything professional, you can all mess around with that shit. Let's just put in her sprite. Now, loop number 1, that's her facing left. So I just click create new frame, and now I double click here because it just selects the first sprite that it has, which is this weird little blue cup, hence the Blue Cup Tools podcast. Hi Francisco, hi Ben. Double clicking that brings me into this window, and now I can click on my little Elsa folder here and say I want to select Elsa facing left. There you go. And I do the same thing for right, just create new frame, double click here, go into Elsa, there you go. Now, my character, Ego, still has normal view, that's 1. He also has a speech view, which is whenever the character talks. That has to be a separate view. We don't have one of those right now, so I'm just going to put that in as 1 as well. And if I start and test the game out now, it's going to look fucking ridiculous. So I'm going to. Because, like we said, Elsa doesn't have a walking animation. She just has a stationary animation. There she is! Bright young gal. So if I walk her around, she's just gonna float across the screen like this. For the purposes of this... Oh, look at the transparency! Oh, this is like... quality stuff! Right there! I am a fucking amazeball! So anyway, that's Elsa. Elsa is now moving around the game. And of course, yeah, if we wanted to add some, walking animation to her, we would just, draw some walking animation on her, save those as individual PNG files, and then import them first into the sprites. Under Elsa, we would just import all of those, and then we would go into her view, and then create new frame, all of this, so that it plays, the animation that we want. I'm not going to do that, because that's boring, and I'm shit at it. I'm the worst, actually the thing that I'm the most worst at in the entire world is walking animation, so I'm not going to fucking do that. You guys can go off and do that shit on your own. Anyway, now she's walking around. So,